Hello, welcome back to Steve's Corner. June 6, 1957, an important day in American history. This is a theory I'm working off of. You know, every weekend I go over to Mama's, spend a couple hours, a few hours, whatever. We usually watch cowboy movies. Well, I found out the other day that June 6, 1957 was the last episode of The Lone Ranger. And I believe that has a lot to do with the downfall of America now. That's how come we've gotten to where we're at. You no longer have good characters like that for kids to look up to. Where they're fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. You know what I mean? Don't matter how much schooling you give them at home, man, it doesn't get reinforced elsewhere. You can teach them right, man, but them outside sources are more than one person can handle. Used to, you had Superman and Captain America, teaching how good the country is, how good it could be if you treated everybody decent. And that's what them guys there did, man. They treated them decent. It didn't care to them who you were. Nowadays, even daggone Sesame Street's went daggone woke. The world has gotten so far out of whack since then. Once we started taking stuff, you can't find a TV show on now that reinforces. Of course, I don't watch any TV, not network TV. How's that? I watch sports and stuff like that, but as far as shows, I don't. But you can't find one. I don't know of one on there that's teaching that stuff. And I think it's a shame. I think that's really when things started going downhill and come out the way they are. In 57, you never would have seen an anti-Semitism going on in the U.S. Now it's running rampant, not only here, but all over the world. You know what I mean? You got a man walking around saying he's a woman, just so he can play tennis or golf or whatever, competing women swimming. Come on, man. You got to admit that, that's a long ways from what we were taught growing up. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just an old man looking back at times and thinking they were so much greater. Hey, man, they weren't the best in the world back then, but things made more sense back then. And now it seems like we're being overrun by what we used to call nuts or idiots back then, Well, it just makes no sense. And it seems like no matter what they say, they're right. But if you say something against it, you're wrong. And they come down on you. Even back then we had our disagreements, but we were all pulling together as one country. But now, and I think that has a lot to do with it, man. Matt Dillon, the guy in the white hat, It ain't all true to life, but it's the meanings behind the stories, That's what makes the difference. And it, I think it has a lot to do with why we're where we're at now. I just talked to my daughter. She's elementary school teacher. Asked her if they still said the Pledge of Allegiance in school, and she said they do. I didn't know. But it's rare, man. It's almost gotten to the point in the U.S. now, if you say, "In God we trust," they want to throw you in jail or something. Just because you don't want to do something for somebody, because you don't agree with them, then they take you to court. Everybody gets a butt hurt so daggone easy now, and they want the laws changed to help them and not help the country. We've gotten so far away from what we became after the Civil War. That's one good thing to come after that. Instead of looking at the country as individual states, as individual countries, where we control our own, we come together and pull together as one nation. And that's how we got to where we were at. And we don't have that no more. Everybody's out for the little bitty own interests. no matter how bad it sticks you and me. The Green Party wanting to stop oil and coal and all this other stuff. They got no idea how much damage that'll do to the country. None. Gradually, over 100 years, hey man, it'll be fine. But all at once, like they talk about they want to do, baloney, man. If it was that good, how come they have to shut down everything else? That's what I want to know. Why they got to force it on you if it's that good? And they can't tell you none of that. So, I mean, but I think that was, I guess that would be a red letter day in America. The day that a Lone Ranger went off the air. I didn't know that show was only on for 5 years. It was on before on radio, but on TV, I had no idea. I thought it ran for a long time, like a Gunsmoke. That thing ran for like 20 years or something. But we need good role models like that. Any decent role models we had over the years had been thrown to the sideline, daggum it. Like when they took down the statues up in Richmond. Now we got Monument Avenue, but there ain't no monuments on it, but the Arthur Ashe. I think Arthur Ashe is still up there. You know, it's just crazy. They want to, it's just the same thing they're doing in Okami. They're rewriting history for her to make her look like she's a genius or some bull. And she couldn't pour urine out of a boot. But it just, you know, we've gotten so far from what we were, and that's how we got to be such a good country. It was what is our past. It's not what they're pushing out there now. You know, they're separating everybody into their own little groups, and they're getting us fighting against each other. You know, instead of looking out for the best thing for everybody. You know, that's the way I look at it. I don't know, man. But listen, y'all take care of yourselves. You have a good week coming up, and we'll talk with y'all later.